Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here, and welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, July 11, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:27 p.m. Jamaica time, so just about 4 minutes ago, considering that it's 6:31 p.m. right now. We can see that tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days, even although we have quite the impressive tropical wave right off the coast of Africa. The usual thunderstorm activity across the southeastern US, some troughing off the east coast of the US. We see a tropical wave right here to the south of Hispaniola, but a lot of wind shear down there as well. Either way, if something does form, we know that the next name on the list would be Dexter. On the eastern Pacific side of things, we also see that tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. We just have a few areas of clouds, one right here, another right here, quite an impressive one right here closer to Central America. Lots of deep convection and lightning associated with that one, but nothing worthy of being tagged by the Hurricane Center. And we know that if something does form, the next name on the list over here is Gil. On the western Pacific side of things, we're looking at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. We have a code yellow that has a low chance of development right here off the east coast of China. And we have a brand new tropical storm. Tropical Storm 6 right here to the south of Japan. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can make out these entities. The code yellow right here to the east of China. We can also see the tropical storm number 6 right here to the south of Japan. And if we take a look at the information here from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center right here, the system is expected to push northward, definitely possibly even scraping the east coast of Japan. As of right now, it's packing maximum sustained winds of 35 knots, and we know anywhere from 34 to 64 knots is definitely tropical storm status. Is definitely on the low end side of tropical storm status, closer to tropical depression status than to category 1 hurricane status. And as you can see, it's expected to strengthen up to 50, maybe 55 knots as it continues to push northward into portions of Japan. It's going to be interesting to see how all of this unfolds over the next 7 days. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the ridges of high pressure to the north that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And with the easterly trade winds, we have numerous tropical waves and Saharan dust. One tropical wave right here to the west of Jamaica. Yes, the tropical wave did indeed cross over us, but didn't bring much moisture. There's a lot of upper level wind shear in the atmosphere, a lot of dry air. These tropical waves just seem so dry. Another tropical wave right here to the west of the eastern Caribbean, to the west of the Lesser Antilles. Another tropical wave right here. And we see that other tropical wave that's closer to Africa, currently affecting the Cabo Verde Islands. And we made out all of these entities earlier. We can definitely see the clouds associated with that tropical wave that passed across Jamaica today. They're right in here. We can also see the other clouds associated with that other tropical wave quickly moving from east-west across the central Caribbean. We can see the clouds associated with the other tropical wave right in here, and there's supposedly another one right in here. And we can make out all of the low-level clouds being steered from east-west, especially with this tropical wave pushing from east to west, all courtesy of the ridges of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean today later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, July 11, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some eastern parishes in the morning. That didn't happen. But we also stated that it could have affected sections of some central and western parishes during the afternoon. I know central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawny, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And as such, a post was made here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, as well as on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at around 4:45 p.m, the visible satellite images were highlighted, showing some clouds bringing some overcast skies, if not some isolated thunder showers, pushing in for sure. Yes, we didn't get in on some light rainfall in the early afternoon in my part of St. Thomas. But clearly the brunt of today's thunderstorms was across western Jamaica and inland areas of some central parishes, like northern St. Catherine, southern St. Anne, northern Clarendon, section of Trelawny, northern Manchester, northern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, section of St. James for sure. That was where the brunt of today's thunderstorms were. And the visible satellite images of Jamaica confirm all of this. We can see everything building when we had that daytime heating across inland areas of some central parishes and then western parishes, and even that upper level wind shear blowing those cloud tops off towards the southeast, just like we said it would. Definitely bring more overcast skies to sections of some southern parishes as usual. And if we take a look at the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing downtown Kingston at around 12:46 p.m, you can see that it was definitely sunny, nothing in the way of bad weather taking place, people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business, definitely sunny for the most part. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit C Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for free for you to view. So just go on YouTube, type in C Jamaica, and subscribe today so that you don't miss out. And we definitely have a few comments here from some of our followers on our Instagram page. We had one Ryan._ stating light rain in Hanover. That was posted 41 minutes ago. Thanks for confirming. We also have Marlon_1God_ stating place chilly weather Jamaica. What you saying? Well, more than likely it's gonna be chilly with the cloud tops blowing off to the southeast, bringing some overcast skies to your area. And finally we have Tevi24 stating lone sun in St. Catherine. Thank you all for confirming. And finally, on our Facebook page, we had Deneva Hume stating rain in Montego Bay. Thank you for confirming that as well. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let us see what's happening right now. The latest still image is showing 23:25 UTC, which is actually 6:25 p.m. So this just came out 5:10, 13 minutes ago, considering that it's 6:38 p.m. right now. And as you can see, most of the clouds that were bringing us overcast skies earlier definitely dissipating. There's some high cirrus clouds in the whitish shades right here. Nothing to do with bad weather taking place. And as such, we should reload the latest Doppler radar images to confirm. The Cuban Doppler radar, the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar. Let us see if the Met Services radar is up and running as yet. They claim that it will have been up and running by the end of June. Boy, it's been years. Let's see. Live imagery. What's that? Nope, definitely not the Doppler radar. Some other model. Alright, let's go to medservice.gov.jm. Let's go to their home page. Doppler radar imagery. Tell me it's working now. Is it working? Nope, doesn't seem like it at all. Hopefully before the hurricane season is over, it is up and running. But the latest Cuban Doppler radar looks like it glitched out today at around 3:10 p.m, which is actually 2:10 p.m. Jamaica time. At that time, we saw some rain bands right here passing to the south of St. Thomas, to the south of Kingston, pushing from east to west. You see the greens into the yellows that represents moderado or moderate, and fuerte, that's heavy rainfall. We also see some of that passing to the north of Portland. Wish we could see what's happening now, but it glitched out. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, on the other hand, showing some rainfall over here to the west of Guantanamo. We see some rainfall across the western peninsula of Haiti. Don't see much of anything taking place across northeastern Jamaica though. The Cayman radar, on the other hand, showing some rainfall across central Cuba here and there. We also see some rain bands to the west of Jamaica that had a lot to do with the rainfall out west this afternoon. Also see some rain bands right here to the west of the Cayman Islands. Alright, so let's see what's happening right now. The live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing that the sun is still up. It's not too late. Usually post these videos to the point where when it's the live camera being shown, it's usually nighttime, but as you can see, nothing really taking place in terms of bad weather at this time. Looks like we have one person right here. What is he doing? Looks like he's fishing. People in their vehicles going about their business. The rear cobra definitely chilling at this time. And I guess that should be the order of the evening. Fair conditions should persist. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're at 28 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Saturday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellows. That represents 1 degrees, maybe even 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. Look at all of these blues across the eastern to the northeastern Caribbean. Very interesting. Below normal temperatures. Will some of that seep into Jamaica? Hopefully. Either way, we know the average temperature or the normal temperature for the month of July across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.8 degrees Celsius. So given that we're going to be receiving maybe up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures tomorrow, given the colors that we just saw, the yellows into the golds, 1 to 2 degrees Celsius rise. So maybe anywhere from 32.8 to 34.8 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Saturday. And we're grateful that we don't see any maintenance outage advisories up from my JPS Online Twitter page, highlighting that there will be any outages, any at all, on Saturday, and we're indeed grateful for that. We know that we usually have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So we're grateful that we're getting a break on Saturday. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat. As usual, if tomorrow is a bit too hot for you, seek shade when you're outside. Eat fresh. Try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak. Take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. The dry air map is right here, and it is showing all of what we're seeing on the key on the bottom: the yellows, the oranges, and the reds and the whites within those reds. That's representing the most dry air, and clearly the most dry air is right over here across the main development region. Very much dry. But what we're liking that we're seeing is the blues. We see a lot of clouds within those blues. That's how we know that the air is moist in those spots. We're talking about the Eastern Pacific, the Gulf, the Southwestern Atlantic, portions of the Caribbean, and into the intertropical convergence zone of the Atlantic. And I wish most of the air was in the moist air, so that we could get more clouds, that we could get more rainfall to keep water in our pipes. But boy, the dry, stable air is taking over July for sure. And as such, we have some Saharan dust accompanying the dry air. We see that as we head into July 12, July 13, July 14, there should be some amount of Saharan dust passing through the Greater Antilles, including Jamaica. But we see the more west it pushes, the more it dwindles down. So it's not that vigorous of a plume as it is pushing through, but it is going to be noticeable within the atmosphere. We don't see that vigorous plume like what we had many weeks ago, the pinks. That could very much mean very hazy skies and trigger respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis in persons. Not saying that this can do the same, but definitely less than what the other plume that we got a month ago did. And regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, still seeing that the highest waves are wherever we have the dark blues into the purples, and the pinks represents anywhere from 2 to 2.5 meter wave heights, like what we're seeing here on the key on the bottom. Alright. Definitely across Hispaniola, or to the south of Hispaniola, to the north of Colombia and Panama. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see more of an easterly flow across the Caribbean. We see the greens, we see the yellows, 20 to 25 knot winds coming in from the east, and it makes sense that the highest winds are kicking up the highest waves to the south of Jamaica for sure. But regarding the wave forecast for Jamaica tomorrow, clearly the highest waves will be right here on the southeastern side, 1.9 meter wave height to the south of St. Thomas. South of Clarendon, 0.9 of a meter wave height. South of Westmoreland, 0.9 of a meter wave height. North of Hanover, 0.9 of a meter wave height. North of St. Anne, 1.1 meter wave height. North of Portland, 1.2 meter wave height. And that's because of the easterly winds that are expected. We see the colors 15 to 20 knots, maybe even gusting to 25 knots in some isolated spots off the south coast. 15 knots to the south of St. Thomas, 15 knots to the north of Trelawney, 18 knots to the south of Manchester. And we also see where the air is expected to pile up. Wherever we have the blues, that's where we're going to be having the least amount of winds. That's where we're going to be having those low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And if they do get up into the upper levels of the atmosphere and become cumulonimbus clouds, we have that upper-level wind shear still coming in from the northwest tomorrow. As you can see, all of these blues represent wind shear, and we see a lot of wind shear across the Caribbean as we speak, which is why these tropical waves are struggling to bring us rainfall. I mean, let us look back at the infrared. There's actually a decent tropical wave passing through the central Caribbean right now, and as you can see, the upper level winds are tearing the thunderstorms off. You can see the clouds being sheared out, and once that takes place, it's this basically weakening the tropical wave. Even although we see it trying to push through and push out to the west, hopefully Jamaica can get some of the moisture associated with that soon. But regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. Didn't see much of any rainfall in the morning, but that doesn't mean that it can't take place. But what we're seeing is the consensus for some amount of rainfall across especially Western Jamaica tomorrow. The Euro is trying to put rainfall across the eastern, central, and western, and we're more inclined to believe what the GFS is showing. Even though the GFS is showing some slight blues across far eastern St. Thomas, some slight blues across northern St. Catherine, southeastern St. Anne, we see that the brunt of the rainfall signal is across sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, maybe even spilling into Trelawney, northern St. Elizabeth. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, look out for rainfall across maybe sections of some western parishes and inland areas of some central parishes, and even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. The Euro adamant that this is the eastern side of the island that should be getting the brunt up to 0.27 of an inch of rainfall or more. The GFS showing that it's the west side of the island that should be getting the brunt of the rainfall, which would be up to 0.45 of an inch of rainfall. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs, so stay tuned. And whatever happens, we'll take it, because we're in the month of July. And in July, we usually receive around 50 millimeters of rainfall in Kingston. In July, we usually receive around 3.2 inches of rainfall in Montego Bay. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of July in terms of rainfall, in millimeters or inches, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts the rainfall from inches to millimeters that we receive on the rain gauge. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, just 68 hours, that's the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we just looked at Saturday's forecast. Now let us look at Sunday. 12Z on Sunday is actually 7 a.m. and we see the greens represent moisture across the eastern end of Jamaica. Let's see what Sunday afternoon looks like. Maybe some rainfall still affecting portions of some central and eastern parishes. Let's see if we have the agreement on the GFS. Sunday morning, nothing. Sunday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes. Interesting. Let us see what Monday morning looks like. On Monday morning, don't see much of anything. Monday afternoon, however, we see rainfall across central and western parishes. Let us see what the GFS shows. Monday morning, nothing. Monday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes too. Let's see what Tuesday morning brings. On Tuesday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. Tuesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western, maybe even eastern parishes too. Let us see what the GFS shows for Tuesday. Tuesday morning, nothing. Tuesday afternoon, central and western parishes with that rainfall. It's very interesting that we also see an abundance of moisture across portions of Florida as well. Let's see how that actually plays out. We see some moisture associated with some maybe tropicals across the eastern Caribbean too, especially on the GFS, a high signal for that. And then let us see what Wednesday morning is showing. On Wednesday morning, maybe some isolated showers across the eastern end of the island. Wednesday afternoon, eastern, central, and western parishes with that rainfall. Let us see what the GFS shows. Wednesday morning, not really seeing much. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes. Interesting. What do we see on Thursday morning? Thursday morning, maybe some rainfall across the south and the eastern ends of the island. Thursday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Friday, July 18. Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica at that time. Let's see if we have the agreement on the GFS. Thursday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. Thursday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes. And just like the euro, we're stopping it at the end of 168 hours. So on the euro, we saw some pockets of slight greens across the south and the east. GFS, something a bit similar. We'll see exactly what unfolds. And regarding the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days across the Caribbean, we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 7 days, as usual, is wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. We're talking about northern South America into portion of Central America. That's where the brunt of the rainfall. We're talking about the 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall expected. We also see some of that into portions of Florida, Cuba, the Bahamas. Very interesting. Those areas could definitely pick up some isolated flash flooding. While other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, up to 1 inch of rainfall at least, like the Lesser Antilles, the Greater Antilles, even portions of maybe Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize. Those areas are going to be picking up 1 inch or less of rainfall over the next 7 days. Well, regarding Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, we can clearly see here that both maps right here from the year and the GFS are showing that yes, although rainfall is expected out east, on the GFS, clearly the year is showing that it's the eastern end up to 41 millimeters of rainfall that should be, getting the brunt of the rainfall. GFS is adamant that it's the western end that should be getting the brunt of the rainfall over the next 7 days, up to 68 millimeters of rainfall at that. Either way, whichever one wins, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. My bet is on the western end. They're definitely getting in on the brunt of the afternoon rainfall these days for sure. Don't really even have much consensus. The pattern is stuck these days. Western parishes getting the brunt of the rainfall. Maybe eastern parishes with that morning rainfall at most. Alright, so let us see what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean. As stated, the usual thunderstorm activity passing through sections of Central America, Northern South America, the usual afternoon thunderstorm activity across sections of Cuba. We see that tropical wave passing to the south of Hispaniola, and we see the tropical waves across portions of the eastern Caribbean. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images, let us see what's happening over there near Puerto Rico at this time. Alright, so near Puerto Rico, don't really see much of anything across the Leeward Islands, but we do see some isolated sprinkles with some light to moderate rainfall across eastern to central Puerto Rico. Even earlier today, didn't receive much of anything. The Barbados radar, on the other hand, showing some isolated showers coming into portion of northern St. Lucia, some rainfall passing through the Grenadines, light to moderate to some slightly heavy rainfall. Grenada getting in on some of that too, so too Tobago, maybe even spilling into Trinidad. And regarding the water view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that lashed portion of Florida today, section of central to western Cuba, the Yucatan, northern Guatemala, Belize. We also see some of that rainfall passing to the north of the ABC Islands, Colombia, Venezuela, sections of northeastern Venezuela. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall over the next 24 hours should be across the areas shaded in the reds, like Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana. We also see some rainfall expected for portion of Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, sections of Florida, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, section of Jamaica, Haiti, into the western portion of the Dominican Republic. We see some moisture into portions of Grenada, the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago as well. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the JFS malls are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.